And so, Gio, I appreciate you being here. Thanks a ton. So I just want to ask you a couple questions about your experience so far working together with myself. You really just want to, first off, start with your reason for engaging. So talk to me a little bit about what made you want to engage, what made you want to even consider getting sort of assistance or guidance.
Absolutely, sir. It's mostly perfectly simple. So I noticed that I had a deficit in my knowledge in cold email. I noticed that watching your videos and seeing a bunch of other content online about cold emailing, about everything. And once I did a deeper dive into marketing and everything like that, because I knew that when I started my personal business with my co-founder that we never lacked an intelligence issue. We never lacked a issue most people have when starting a business is like really truthfully like, okay, can I actually do the thing, like do the actual business thing? And seeing everything online, I knew that a lot of people struggle with marketing, and I knew that it was mostly just a numbers game and a volume game. But obviously being precisely like not just like spray and pray, but more of a precise, personalized volume and targeted versus just shouting into the void. So once I started, it mostly started. So like once I started looking at your videos, I noticed that that there's definitely levels to this cold emailing, and I knew that cold emailing could work if I do everything correctly and I do everything at scale. But of course, I didn't know when to start. Like most people when they watch the videos, of course, you like any good person who does like a thing, like who's been doing a thing for a long time, makes it look easy. And I knew that it wasn't going to be easy. So I wanted to skip all the steps of trial and error and taking long. So I decided that, well, I'm just going to go to the subject matter expert and then I'm going to learn directly from them. That's would allow me then to, one, not only have direct one-on-one kind of, hey, this is a X, Y, and Z problem. What can I do from a direct source instead of like, for example, going on any other forum post and getting like 90 different answers, which then I would have to comb through. And then, you know, that just becomes like a downhill thing. So I knew I wanted to skip all that. I knew I wanted to go direct to the source. And then once I started watching the videos, I knew, okay, this is the guy that I would definitely want to learn from.
Right. Awesome. And so you came into this, so people approach this thing in different starting points. And for yourself, please correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a business already established, meaning that the concept was there. You had already started engaging with clients and pitching offers, doing work for clients. So it's not like you were starting completely, like you needed a whole business plan from scratch. You had an idea of what you at least wanted to scale.
Yes, sir. So we did really come in. It wasn't, again, like super established, but we did have case studies. We already had testimonials, all that. So everything was already established. Like the whole front end and back end of the business was already finished. That was one of the first things that we decided to do until I took it upon myself. Thankfully, my co-founder focused more on the technical side, and then that's when I didn't want to struggle like all the other businesses who started and now, okay, cool. You have your LLC, you have your website, you have your product, whatever that is you're doing.
Right.
Now go find the people who need the services or want the services. So instead of going through months or years of just trial and error, trying different things, I knew that like definitely cold email was the way to go, and especially doing it at scale, which in my opinion, I looked at all the different things of outreach and marketing, and I knew that emailing had, in my opinion, the highest like ROI. Like if I could, all I needed was just a couple $100 a month. I have the ability to send around like 30, 40K emails a month if I send the proper campaigns and I do everything like, you know, according to like the framework that you said and in the actual deal maker. I knew that even if just a numbers game, if I send 25K emails and even on the worst end, I get 1% reply rate. And then beyond that, I get a 5% positive reply rate. And I do that every single month. I mean, the numbers are going to speak for themselves. So I knew that that was going to be a hardest like ROI. And that was kind of what I wanted to lead towards.
Got it. Yeah. So I find that there are two really distinct groups of folks. It's folks who want to start a business from scratch, who are just looking to model what I did on the agency side. But then there's also people who already know what they want to do as a business, and they're just looking to add a client acquisition channel. And it sounds like you are the latter. But what I can also appreciate about that is that you come into this with the entrepreneurial mindset already, versus with a lot of folks who are looking to start a business for the first time. Often there's a lot of that mental mindset buildup that we got to go through, and we touched on that in a previous conversation. So you definitely have it working in your favor. So I know it's super early. We've been working together for less than a month for sure, maybe 3 weeks going into 4 weeks, something like that. So obviously still early. I don't even think we've launched campaigns yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just talk to me about your overall experience, from the moment you joined and up until now in the conversations we had. You don't got to go into any detail that you don't want to, but just talk to me about your overall impressions, the kind of support, the experience, and from that angle.
So I would say it's obviously been very positive, and I said this in obviously in the previous conversation, sir. But if you're selling snake oil, like I'll tell you, like it's pretty simple, pretty simple. My point, but it's honestly just been super helpful. Just the fact that just even coming a deal maker and having all the frameworks and everything, and having that Notion document where I can go comb through, and I can inevitably train my own system to try to mimic even half of that, has been insanely helpful. Or the fact that I can get like my offer critiqued, or I can get my website critique, and from like actual outside sources, that already itself would just be worth what I paid for the Dealmaker Accelerator, like that in itself. But the fact that I get everything added onto that, I get a nice structured plan. In my personal opinion, now it's not for many people. Like, for example, like I would be honest, my co-founder, who of course, I share most of the information I gain from this with, just because, I like to be on the same page, just with everything that we're doing. He is not a person that really likes a framework or anything. Like he's a very smart guy. He actually likes like looking at documents. I could never. But the fact that I have an actual structure, like there's, hey, this is, the tools and resources. This is tips on getting your first client. This is, week one, this is what we're going to do in week 1, week 2, week 3, and everything structured like that has been insanely helpful. Because like me, I like, and I think most other people, having some type of structured framework and almost like a checklist to keep yourself on track. Yeah, because I kind of do what you do, similar, sir. Like I have a notebook where I track most of my stuff. Yeah, and the fact that I now have something else to not only keep you accountable, but as well as the other people there, and that like are progressing with you, so you can not only see the other people and contact other people. Like I've gotten in touch with Dominic, and I've shot some ideas off him, and it's been insanely helpful just for that. So combined with everything that you get, so you get not only the structured framework, the Q&As, the amount of people in there as well, so you can see what other people are struggling with, and you can kind of like see like, okay, if this is something they're struggling with, I should probably put extra focus into this. So the fact that you're in an environment which many people are trying to achieve the same thing just fosters growth amongst everyone. So I think all in all, everything has been insanely like great. Even if I haven't launched a actual proper campaign yet, I genuinely do believe that once like I do, it's going to start obviously compounding, and I have once I get everything set up, I get the offer down, everything is down pat, it's just going to completely compound. And I can definitely see like the cold emailing is going to be worth every single dollar, probably more than what I spent.
Cool. I appreciate that, Gio. Thank you. So you pretty much touched on this in that last answer. I was just going to ask you, would you recommend this to someone else / a friend, and to who specifically? You touched on that, but is there anything else? In summary, would you recommend this to a friend or another business owner? Or
yes, absolutely. So I would I would recommend this absolutely to a friend and a business owner. The actual prime candidate I would recommend this to is a lot of people I know that they do want to do the whole cold emailing as an actual business itself, which is fantastic. Um, you know, like I was even thinking, like I was like, if we get really good at it, and then we can take everything that we learn from it and just add it on as another product that we can sell, that's fantastic in our business. However, but still, the best candidate, in my opinion, is one, obviously, if you want to do cold emailing strategy as a business, that's fine. But if you're a business and you're struggling, like especially obviously, I would like, we're obviously in the tech space, but if you're just as, a nice startup or anything revolving around, and you're just even before you even start up, even don't even have a front end back end of the business, I would still 100% anyone who's even remotely serious about starting a business or a company, the biggest hurdle that I've seen, and that even just a quick Google search will show you, is that a lot of people struggle with marketing. Because if you have something, you can have gold, you can have genuine gold, but if no one is going to listen to what you say, or no one cares for what you have to say, no one's going to buy gold. Even if you have something it's insanely valuable, if you're like, man, this is great, if I just show other people, they would love it as well as I do. And let's say you show it to like a couple people and you're like, wow, so it works, people do genuinely like this. But if no one is going to listen to you, then no one's going to buy your product, and you're going to be stuck in the same loop where you're just trying, like a lot of people just like, excuse my French here, sir, but they half-ass these different strategies. Like, I know you call it worm, but all these people just like they dip their toes in, for example, sir, like in something that like it's super low barrier to entry. It's super just, oh, let me try Facebook meta ads, whatever, sure. And you just show an ad that does horrible and no one likes it, nothing. Okay, whatever, that sucks, I'll try YouTube, and people think they're going to get famous on YouTube in a week. But the difference is, if like with cold emailing, and why I would have recommended, is because the effects could quite literally compound just based on how good you do. So it's based, of course, you have external factors, like you got to worry about your deliverability, all those things, the infrastructure for cold emailing, but it's very simple as long as you follow like the steps. You set them up, you warm them up, you grab all the inboxes you want. You have to obviously figure out how many emails you want to send. Okay, you're ready as a market, as a business, you should already know or have a general idea of your ICP or in your total addressable market. So with everything in hand, you're essentially almost done with the cold emailing. Then you just got to go back and forth with your offer. With, okay, now you're actually finding who to email. That's kind of the biggest thing. So it's finding who to email and critiquing your offer. And then once you do that, it's insanely simple. Now you just got to send those emails and land in those inboxes, and then people are going to start responding. So in my opinion, I don't really know how people are not just figuring this out. It's quite sad, because I know a lot of people are struggling, but absolutely, I would recommend this to anyone who is even remotely serious, even if they don't like cold emailing. Just the fact that they could be in this program and learn about just another tool to use in their arsenal is insanely helpful.
Right.
So that's exactly what I would recommend it to anyone who's even serious about their business.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Gio. I think about that all the time. And I try and tell folks this, especially in the one-on-ones. I'm like, this stuff, you might just very well fatigue or outgrow or whatever it is. This just might be like a stepping stone in your entrepreneurial journey, but you don't get dumber as an entrepreneur. Like, you learn how to write emails, you learn how to structure communicate offers over email. You learn how to find leads and so on and so forth. Like that, you don't lose this skill. And this is the stuff that allows you to grow a business faster and faster every single time. Like, this might not be your last company. It's probably not, but you have, at the very least, you have a way to market something to hundreds of thousands of people if you want to, or you can at least evaluate it if you do hire a copywriter, for example, because copywriting translates from emails to ads, if you want to run ads, to YouTube, to whatever it might be. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to communicate to folks as well is like, yes, we're doing cold email. This is a bit of a boot camp, so to speak, and we're scaling your business. But business skills like sports skills or like exercise, like this stuff translates into whatever you want to do next. And my whole goal is to help you guys grow or refine yourselves rather as entrepreneurs. Of course, get the results and while you're here, but to be even more successful if you ever want to do something else or grow this into some other direction. Gio, thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course.